This video is a continuation of the last video where we looked at aspects of Demon Slayer and how they relate to biblical symbolism. So if something is confusing, go take a look at that. In Proverbs, we find 4 characters, or perhaps images of people in the first 9 chapters. These are the wise king who is talking to his son, Lady Wisdom, the immoral woman, and the wicked and evil man. In the entertainment arc, the latter two are well matched by our villains. Daki embodies the immoral woman. In Proverbs, the immoral woman is called an adulteress and is heavily associated with prostitution. We see her associated with the night and the nightlife, just like the immoral woman. Obviously, as a demon, she physically can't be in the daytime, but the social aspect of the night wasn't particularly emphasized in this series until this arc. Daki is manipulative, bitter as wormwood, and leads to destruction. For many a victim she has laid low, and all her slain are a mighty throng. Her house is the way to Sheol, going down to the chambers of death. Proverbs 7:26-27. People are literally murdered in her apartment. Her feet go down to death. Her steps follow the path to Sheol. Proverbs 5:5. The realm of the dead and the grave in the Bible is Sheol, which is in the ground. Daki literally pulls people underground with her powers to feed on them, which is interesting because following the rest of the passage in Proverbs 5, it says, "And at the end of your life you groan, when your flesh and body are consumed." Proverbs 5:11. This is literally what happens to Daki's victims. The King James and the New King James translations add that, "By means of a harlot, a man is reduced to a crust of bread." Proverbs 6:26 in KJV. The immoral and adulterous woman in the series has a brother, and he is the violent and wicked man. Proverbs says of wicked men like him, "Their feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed blood." Proverbs 1:16. Gyutaro is one of the best fits for the wicked and violent man. Gyutaro enjoys what he does, and is one of the most cunning opponents yet. As Proverbs 2:14-15 says, "Who rejoice in doing evil and delight in the perverseness of evil, men whose paths are crooked and who are devious in their ways." He is, of course, very violent. The title of violent for the wicked man is used in Proverbs 3:31. While unlike the wicked man in Proverbs, he is not a thief. He's an extortioner. But similar warnings in the scriptures are against them as well. Another contrast with the wicked man in the scriptures is that Gyutaro originally has a cause for his violence, whereas the wicked man in the Proverbs does not. In Proverbs, both the wicked man and the adulterous woman are considered together as the twin results of the path of the wicked and the fool. While the wicked woman entraps and ensnares with her ways, the man uses brute force and trickery to get his way. In the end, they are ultimately the same. They eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. This literally being eating the murdered and beaten bodies of their rivals, prostitution victims, and enemies. Now, Gyutaro and Daki were transformed into demons for a reason. They were in the poorest and lowest rung of their society, and their hard life made them the wicked demons they were transformed into. Proverbs also is the book that most heavily stresses that whoever harms the oppressed and the poor will come to destruction. Whoever mocks the poor insults his maker. He who is glad at calamity will not go unpunished. Proverbs 17:5. Turning our attention to our heroes, in this arc we are searching for Tengen Usui's wives, just like the young man in Proverbs is searching for a wife. Not only that, but they also have to search out the demon that they are fighting. This naturally will lend itself to a wisdom-oriented narrative. It also takes discernment to even fight the demons this time. Not only do they have to get around the usual kinds of demon powers, but they have tricks up their literal sleeves, to the point where there's even another person, in a sense, up their sleeve. There are more twists and turns in this battle than any other in the series thus far, and it's impossible to tell when it's over what stage of the fight you're even in your first read-through. Side note, when Nezuko sets the boys on fire, she removes the poison from them. This is an example of purgative fire. One more note before I end. In the last arc, we find out about Tanjiro's Hinokami Kagura being what is called sun breathing. There's a lot to cover on this. But I'll leave you off with this. In the Proverbs, it says, "But the path of the just is like the shining sun that shines ever brighter into the perfect day."